Today, Nintendo has a huge leak. I hope they know a good plumber. This is CheckPoint. Welcome to CheckPoint. We've got all the best hits from the 60s, 70s, and 80s.
Rolling right into the 90s, through the aughties.
Sorry, what, the aughties?
Yeah, aughties.
That can't be a real thing.
Well, what would you call them?
The goose eggs?
Ugh, no, how about we compromise? All the way through the millennium.
Jiggy.
And now, a brief follow-up on our previous Sims 4 story. Knitting is still coming to The Sims 4 by way of the nifty knitting stuff pack, but now you'll be able to pair it with its perfect ambient cousin, heavy metal. When you tune into the new metal radio station while knitting, your sim will feel capital E energized and will get capital B bonuses to their capital N knitting. If the Devil's Own music and Grandma's Own pastimes seem like a weird combo to you, then you've probably never heard of Finland's Heavy Metal Knitting Championship. 26 bands applied for last year's competition, 12 bands were accepted, with the biggest stipulation being that each band must have a lead performer who will knit during the performance. The Sims sound designer Drew Bowles said in a forum post that, quote, "At first glance, a pack centered on knitting may seem like an odd choice, but when we heard about the heavy metal knitting competition last year in Finland, we knew it was, in fact, a perfect fit. No word yet on whether they'll be backmasking in secret messages telling you to add a ladder back to your swimming pool or letting your Sims sleep before they piss themselves in a rocket ship or something."
This past week, Riot Games announced the main sponsorship partner for the League of Legends European Championship Summer Series, and the funny thing is, it's a whole-ass city. The really funny thing is that it's a city that doesn't even exist yet. The not funny thing is everything else about this. The city in question is Neom, a futuristic megacity in concept only, currently under construction on the shores of the Red Sea and funded to the tune of $500 billion by Saudi Arabia in general and Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman in specific. Neom, the name apparently a mashup of the Greek word for new and the Arabic word for future, will supposedly have flying cars, an artificial moon, wishes itself to be a regional esports hub, and promises to be 33 times as large as New York City, which isn't necessarily that tricky when you're just building on empty desert where nobody lives, except the 20,000 members of the Hawattit tribe who live there and are being actively removed from their land. Of course, that's barely a blip when you're looking at Saudi Arabia's human rights abuses, which is why so many people in Riot Games' community spoke out against this decision. It was a real everyone disliked that scenario, because when I say community, it wasn't just players, it was also contractors who work with the European League and full-on Riot employees. Some who even work closely with the people who made this decision said they felt betrayed and silenced by it, and lead League of Legends gameplay designer Mark Yetter tweeted that he could not support this decision. Late last night, like while we were writing, which is just so inconsiderate, the LEC announced they were ending the partnership in a statement from Alberto Guerrero, director of esports for Europe, the Middle East, and Africa, saying, quote, "In an effort to expand our esports ecosystem, we moved too quickly to cement this partnership and caused rifts in the very community we seek to grow." Which is a very corporate way of saying, sorry, our Twitter icon still had the pride flag when we simultaneously agreed to take a fuck ton of money from a country where it's illegal to be gay, but it's about the best we're gonna get.
Well, color me surprised. It turns out that Luigi actually is in Super Mario 64. You see, Mario 64 doesn't have multiplayer, but supposedly at one point it was going to, which means that there might have been long-lost assets of everyone's favorite player too, Luigi. Nobody could find them, though, until people reviewing this week's piece of the Nintendo Gigaleak found files and textures for the missing Mario brother. Not a complete model, but enough that a rebuilt Luigi could be modded into the game, and while this is less finding out where Luigi has been hiding the whole time, and more, we found some parts of his body and made him whole again like a Frankenstein would. But at this point in the year, let's just take the win.
And speaking of all the leaked Nintendo source code, here's a small roundup of some of the easier-to-rhyme things that have been discovered. Oh, in a truly massive breach of internet security, came Nintendo's information harvested illegally. A human pal in Star Fox 2 from Coding Tools Historical. Early version Pokemon in order categorical. A cancelled game that would have had the title Super Donkey. Unused sprites with awful legs where Yoshi looks all wonky. A prototype for Pilot Wings only seen in magazine, and a rejected villager by the name of Cat 13. long lost levels, Bowser's legs, and vocal samples uncompressed, but also names and emails, information better left suppressed. In conclusion, while this leak preserves the data for posterity, it truly is a massive breach of internet security.
Not bad. What do you do for an encore?
Ghosts of Tsushima told through the Mikado?
I don't know. One of those is a cultural pastiche of Japan seen through a very specific lens and written by people from another country that was nonetheless well received by the residents of Japan. And the other is the Mikado. Coming up, the secret cutscene that plays in Metal Gear Solid 5 when every nuke is disarmed has finally been triggered. On PS3 because so few people are playing on that platform now. Still counts though.
I want to give props to Kathleen for the Modern Major General rewrite, by the way. I don't know if this will get into the end of the show. I can't tell Heather what to do.
We have to do something funny here for
no
it to
one
qualify.
Yeah, oh shoot. You know, I've never been able to do armpit farts.
Me neither, yeah.
I can do hand. I can do the hand.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
I like that.
The problem is I learned that I could do this in like university, and I was like, ha 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 ha. Oh, the person in front of me just thinks I'm cutting ass.
Not bad. What do you do for an encore?
Ghosts of
Tsushima?
Tsushima?
Tsushima.